So I need this done in C++ in about a day. And so we take the input file from desktop, open it, and put a 3-letter window on the start, and you slide it along 1 letter at a time, and taking snapshots of 3 letters, put them in a tree. You're going to save them. You increment every node you pass, so like node 1, node 2, node 3, and so it gives you a tree of up to 3 letters, 3 nodes with counts in them for how many times you pass that letter. The root will have more counts, root area, and now when you save the node, you're going to save all the 3 letters in one node with their counts beside them, 48, 32, and so all in one node. You only split it into another node for like 2, only if you need to, branch out, because it would cost too many nodes to make one node for every letter with their count in them. So now that we do that, we're done building the stub of the tree. So now whenever you begin compression or decompression, it's the same code really, almost. And you're going to, if it's step 17 say, you're going to start with another scan 17-letter window on the start, and you're going to move it along one at a time, 1 letter, and each time it's going to save the 17-letter line into the tree. It's going to not increment any of the 3-letter branches at all, because it's totally done now. So you're only going to increment counts for after the 3 letters. So you're building the tree with 17 letters at a time, incrementing those now. Same thing. And now before you save any 17-letter window you're on into the tree, you're going to first take that 17 letters and take the 3 letters, and then the 4, and then the 5, and you might stop there if there's no more matches. So you got the 3, the 4, and the 5 searches, and you ignore the 1 and the 2 and the 0. So you got the 3, 4, 5 letter searches. And what you're going to do with those is, before you save those 17 letters in, you're going to search for those 3 now that you could go up to. You didn't find any 6-letter match. And so what happens is, as we go through decompression, we're building the tree as we go, as the 17 letters get saved in each window. So as it's generating, or making up during compression, it's building the tree and getting more knowledge to better predict more statistics. Use a suffix tree for the multiple letters in a node. So now that you got the 3 searches, you got the counts, the 4th letter for the 3-letter search. And those 4th letter counts, you're going to have maybe 3 children branches here with counts on each with the letter, the count, letter count. Now that gives you the set of counts for those letters to predict the probability of them. Now, because you need to maybe have another letter here like G or Z that you never seen yet because you're near the start of the file, you need to basically make up, but don't store these, all 250 bytes get 0.2%, let the user set it, of the percentage of total counts. So 0.2% of total counts, and when you total them together. But say the 2 children you do have stored, 33%, 44%, then the rest are 0.2%, all add up to 100. They add up to 100. So, like if you got 48 counts, 32 counts, it's like 66% of the total counts, 33%. And you got 0.2, 0.2 for the rest of the 256 byte types. So you total them, and it gives you the percentage for each. So you have percentage set for all 256 4th letter predictions here, and also for the 4-letter and the 5-letter search, the 6 and the 5-letter predictions. Now with those 3 sets, you're going to because you have 100%, 100%, 100%. You're going to add them together, get 300%, but we want 100%. So those also have to add up to 100%. So you're going to take a set of 100%, you're going to divide it, so it's like 33%, so you get 100%, but you don't want to divide it by 1/3, it's going to be adaptive. So the amount you cut away from this 100%, the amount of say it gets when it combines is, say you have the 3-letter is automatically 100%. So like the bar out of, and then for the 4-letter search, say you have for the 5th letter predictions for the 4-letter search, you have, let the user set, the user can set how many counts is 100%. So like, see the total of the counts for the 5th letter predictions is like, like 78 here, or maybe 322 counts in total. The user might set it to 1,000 counts needed to be 100%. So if you have 500 counts and it's only half of what the user would want to have enough statistics, then the second set for the 4th letter, the 5th letter predictions, is going to be 50%. So it gets 50% say when you divide the set, so that you combine them all, get 100%. So that means that it's 50% of the counts total that the user wants it to be 1,000. It's only 500. So it's 50% gets the say. So now this is 100%, this is 50%. You're thinking like, how do you get 100%? So what you do is that if this is 50%, then then set 2 automatically gets 50% say, and set 1, even though it's 100, gets 50% say also. So you divide each by 2. Now say you got 3 sets here, 3, 4, 5 letter searches, and this is out of 1,000 the user set it for total counts. You only have 100 counts. It's exponentially less as you go deeper. So what that means is it's 10%. It's 10% now. What you want to do is, this is 115, 10. You're going to take away 10% of the, this is going to be 10% of the say for sure. And then this is going to be, because it's 50% of the 90% left over, because this takes away 10% of the 100. So you got 10%. Now with the 90% left over in here, this is going to take away the 50%. So it's going to be 10%, 50%, and 40%. And so then they add up to 100 when you combine these 3 sets. So based on the user set for 1,000 counts and how many counts total are in here, each of the 3 sets, you're going to divide those percentage sets of percentages, each of the 3 of the sets, by that amount, so that this one gets a little bit, say 10%, and then 50%, and then the 40%. Now when you combine them and get 100%, you got one set of 256 percentages. Now what you're going to do is, the 17 letter window is like, here for the 17th letter, the one that, the last one that has the counts, for the last one that gets the counts, like if you had the 3-letter window, go here 3 and then it got the counts. So it's the last 17th letter one that gets the counts. They all have the counts in the tree though, but so that 17th letter, because as you're decompressing, you don't have the rest of the input, you're generating it. So on compression, when you're compressing, you're doing the same thing that you're making up. You don't know what the next letter is, even though you have it all, you're scanning along. So the 17th letter, the one that you want to predict, is say like the letter F. or say that's the letter P. So with that, you want to jump into a range for that letter to predict it and encode it. So you have your set of percentages. It's like one big bar now, and you have like 40% likely going to be E, 20% likely going to be T, 10%, 5%, 3%, 1%, 0.3%, 0.156%, and so it's exponentially more as you go up. So this bar now, this one set of 256 percentages, is telling you the statistics of what it thinks the next letter is going to most likely be. So if you're going to want to predict the letter is if it is going to be a E, like you're doing the compression, if it is going to be a E, you're going to jump into a range that's a big range. So the range you jump in is a big one usually, because usually the common letters are going to be the ones you do step on for the 17th letter at the end. So you're going to be usually jumping into a big window, gets a bigger slice. That's what the percentage does here to the one big bar. So on decompression, you look at where you are in the range, because you keep magnifying. Like you pick this area, magnify it, and you're going to pick this little area and magnify it. So you're finding a little precise area of this bar out of 0 to 1, and you're becoming more float precision precise. It's just a number between these two numbers that's really, really long. So if you're on decompression, the 17th letter, you don't have it yet, what's going to happen is, or the 18th letter, if you get me here, and then what's going to happen, no, it'd be the 17th letter, I'm sorry, and then what's going to happen is you're going to look at the range you are in currently. I mean, once you save this code, so you have the code only and you're decompressing it, you're going to look at the range you are in, and then what letter would have given you that range. So now when you do the compression, you're building the range, you are becoming more precise between these numbers. Like, so, you know, the bigger slice, if your 17th letter is E, which it usually is, then it's going to be like 0.7 to 1, and you're going to jump into that range, 0.7 to 1. And then if it's the letter's a little bit less usually common, it's like a B or a Z out of the 256, then it's going to be like you're jumping into the range 0.76 to 7.9, and then so it gets more precise. Now when you do see locked in digits, like, you know, locked in, they're not going to change anymore because it's getting more precise, but you're picking a number between these two numbers. You're picking a high and low, a high and a low between this high and low. So when they get locked in, they won't change anymore now. You're going to focus on picking a number between these two. You carry away those, save it, and you're building one long code of where you are between this. So you're compressing by doing that. You're picking a percentage range of the whole bar, that the high and low. You're picking an area of that, and then that becomes the bar you focus on, magnify it, and you pick an area of that, and you magnify that, and then you pick an area of that. So, you know, the exponentially bigger slices at the top for the percentages. And then so on decompression, you're just looking at the range you are in with that code you made, what it likely is, the letter, the percentage that you know the percentages. So as it's going from start to end with the 17th letter, it's building a tree, it's doing the same thing. So it can see that what range it is in, then what the letter is based on the percentages known. So it can reverse it. And so yeah, you want to have like 16 digit float, like, so that it's long enough, and you're going to carry those away, or maybe even two at a time if you see they're locked, like 34, 34. Now with the final, after you carry them all away and you're at the end of the input file, you're going to have carry them away, and then you're going to have these two numbers. You're going to pick the shortest number that's between these two. So you're going to start with the low one, and you're going to pick, like, if you got 49, it's between these two. If you go to 50, the 5, you can keep it just a 5 here. See how I got the 5 here? That 5 is between the 4 and the 6. You don't need to have like 5, 4, 2, just 5. It's the shortest one, and it's between these two numbers. It's between these two numbers, because it might be like 4, 5, and you can't pick a number between it. So it might be 4, 6, and then 5, 1. So you'd be picking 4, 7, or 4, 6. So no, it'd be 4. Well, for this precisely, no, I meant if it was 4, 6, and 4, 6, and 5, 9, you'd pick 4, 7. So it's just a number between those that's the shortest. And then you store that code. You're shaving off the N when you do that. And so yeah.